Hi, I'm Benjamin Bell of This Week with George Stephanopoulos, and I'm here with Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. And because we believe all politics is social here at This Week, we're going to put your questions from Facebook to Karl, who was also the Deputy Chief of Staff to President Bush.
George W. Bush.
Exactly.
43 as opposed to 41.
So the first question comes from Rick Gibbs, who says, Karl, what, in your opinion, was the greatest accomplishment of the Bush administration?
Well, if you had to pick one, it would obviously be in the aftermath of 9/11, keeping America safe and foiling efforts to follow on the attack of 9/11 with others.
Right. And, you know, we actually had a lot of questions about the Iraq War, obviously. You know, when you think about it 10 years after the invasion, we just passed that anniversary, do you have any regrets, or is there anything you look back on and think to yourself, I would have done that differently?
Sure, of course. I mean, look, at the end of any conflict, I bet people look back and clearly have regret about the loss of life. And clearly, I mean, everything in hindsight, you know, becomes clear as to what you should have done or shouldn't have done. Every conflict is like that. But the world is a safer place with Saddam Hussein gone. If he were not removed from power, could you imagine what the Middle East would look like today with Saddam Hussein, who was, you know, successfully undermining the United Nations by ignoring the agreements he made in the aftermath of the first Gulf War, undermining the oil for sanctions regime, had every confidence that he could ultimately be free of them, and he would be emboldened with, you know, a fifth of the world's oil supplies and the capacity to reinstitute his dangerous weapons programs. And if he were not alive, the country would be run by one of his sadistic son, Uday or Qusay. And could you imagine how difficult that would make that part of the world? So in retrospect, sure, lots of regrets, lots of things you'd like to have done differently, but the world is a better place with Saddam Hussein gone.
Okay. The next question comes from Kenneth Jarrell, and he says, is Chief Justice Roberts a disappointment? Obviously, he had that critical ruling over the Obama health care mandate.
Right. Well, in one sense, yeah, you wish he'd gone on the other side and been 5-4, declaring it unconstitutional. On the other hand, when you appoint somebody because of their character, their convictions, their abilities, and not because you have a belief, a confidence in a foreordained outcome in any given decision. You appoint them for their leadership and for their legal acumen. And you know, you have to look at the long narrative of his record on the court, which is only now beginning. But had I wished he acted differently in it, yes. But on the other hand, he's been a strong leader who's restored public confidence in the court and has led the court to make some important decisions.
Okay. And two more lighthearted questions here. How do you feel about Stephen Colbert's Big Canned Ham rendition of Your Head? That comes from Gary Steele. Have you seen it?
Well, yeah. Look, he's an entertainer, so he gets to be funny and exaggerate things and so forth. Though I have to admit, when he took out the knife and started stabbing it, I think he might need a little bit of professional counseling on his anger management issues. That was I don't know whether that was working out his inner feelings or encouraging maybe somebody to maybe mimic him or just sort of being funny. But there was a little bit of, you know, anxiety in his stabs there. So
okay. And what do you think of President Bush's paintings? Have you seen them?
I have one. I have one of the original first 43s. He painted my wife and our dogs, and he's pretty good. Particularly, I called him when Barney died, and he had painted a picture of Barney, which I thought was really, you know, clearly from the heart. But I once told him, though, thank God you took up only one of Winston Churchill's post-leadership activities, oil painting, as opposed to bricklaying as well. So,
okay, and now it's time for our lightning round. iPhone or BlackBerry?
iPhone, of course.
Okay. Favorite movie of the year?
Well, of the last 12 months,
Sure.
It's a tie. Skyfall and Lincoln. I enjoyed both of them immensely. Best Bond movie ever, and a really fine movie on Lincoln.
Great movies. And finally, comfort food.
Fried chicken.
Okay, fried chicken. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us today,
Those
Karl.
last three questions were really critical. I'm really glad we had a chance to explore them in depth.
They're very, very important.
Yeah. Now, what's your iPhone or BlackBerry?
iPhone.
Favorite movie the last 12 months?
Argo.
Argo. Interesting choice. Comfort food?
Peanut butter and jelly.
There we
or
go.
maybe Elvis peanut butter and bananas, and I think it's with bacon. But thank you.
Yeah, but don't. Here, you got to give up that habit early, man.
Okay,
give up that habit early.
I will. I promise.
Good, excellent.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning, Karl, and thank you to everyone who submitted their questions. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/thisweekabc and on Twitter at thisweekabc.